Yeah.
Oh,
You can
I have no
actually see it.
idea.
We'll do intros first. Spawning,
All right.
top left-hand corner of the map. It is the Stefano color Zerg from LiT eSports. It is Fuzzles.
And up here in the top right in the orange from Team UnRivaled, it is Ransack.
A beautiful
So
little
yeah,
PPZ. It's
yeah,
what's
should be a really even match.
what's interesting about this matchup is usually you're supposed to scout horizontally first because when you're a Zerg player, things like Roach Queen drops, Sling drops, Bane drops are really effective on this map. So I would imagine that when Ransack scouts vertically and doesn't see the Zerg, he's probably going to be a little bit cautious for that.
Yeah. And right here, looks like Fuzzles is just going straight for a straight up hatch first, which you don't really see as often anymore. Usually you'll see a, actually no, I guess you will see a hatch gas pull most of the time now. And I'm actually just wrong.
It's okay.
Yeah, so not a lot of punishment gonna be able to come down from Ransack. He only has one person on gas here, which is an interesting choice. So that means a bit later warp gate, bit later a double adept if that's what he decides to go into, and really just kind of makes it a lot easier to get this expansion up, and then go into that tech.
What's kind of standard nowadays is for maybe not standard, but what can be a very risky play is the Zerg going for an early pool, getting 6 lings out, and then doing a triple expansion. So what the one guy on gas lets you do is he allows you to get the Nexus and the Cyber Core quicker, while also getting a Zealot in case you see early lings. Because if you can chrono out, you can get it in time to block a wall off. So I really like that play. And then once you get the core, you put another 2 guys on gas, and then soon you should see him take his second gas.
hmm Yeah, and there it goes right there. And so both these players just gonna kind of get themselves into the mid stage of this game. Not much early aggression coming down. There is still that possibility of warp gate explosion or adept robo play. But right now, just kind of, getting their gases and really just getting that drone count to what it needs to be and getting that probe count to the optimal point.
I like how Ransack is being so active with this probe, really checking to see if there's an early third. Zergs really like early thirds because it's hard for a Protoss who does an early expansion to kind of punish that. You might see the
Mm.
2 or 3 adepts that come in, but they'll just try to snipe Jones. They're not trying to deny hatcheries or anything. And now we see a fair amount of lings being made and being sent out across the map. I think Ransack should be fine. He's chronoing out another adept. I kind of wish he had a mothership core. He's got the minerals and gas for it, but it seems like he's just gonna favor Robotech faster. This could be interesting. He might need to get a second pylon up.
Ooh, yeah, there
Oh,
is a
it's
dropper lord
drops.
being morphed here. And without that mothership core out, this has the potential to do a lot of damage here. And it looks like she's going to sync it up with this attack at the front. So Ransack is really going to be taxed here to make sure that he doesn't lose a critical amount of probes. Now these lings kind of posturing at the front here, and the mothership core is out. And luckily for Ransack, is staying near this main base. So
Great
at the
pylon
front, the
placement right
lings are
there.
hitting at that adept, and the drop is unloading into the main base. And it looks like one adept might go down here, but the lings are not going to get through. Do actually get through and get a nice little surround. Meanwhile, the lings moving into the mineral line in the main base, not getting a whole lot done, and actually going and attacking that pylon with the overcharge. Not a wise move, and all those lings will die. Very nice hold by Ransack.
That was an extremely nice hold. It can be hard to really kind of handle those 2 attacks so early in the game, but he was very smart to leave his mothership core in the main base while having his army at the front. The adepts were able to hold the front while the mothership core was able to hold the mineral line. And it seems like Fuzzle's multitasking faltered a little bit. It seems
Mhm.
that the Zerglings at the front were kind of a failure, and she may have been focused on that. She may have been focused on the macro at home. But that allowed Ransack just to focus on overcharge the pylon, and then the Zerglings focused the pylon, which is a pretty big bummer, considering they could have just run out, get back into that Overlord, and could have been a constant annoyance to Ransack in this game.
And then now you see Fuzzle's macro kind of slipping a little bit here. Has this drone in place to get the third expansion and hasn't quite gotten that. And also is a little bit indecisive on the tech that she wants here. Has this Baneling Nest and this Roach Warren at the same time, so keeping her options open. Third base still not being taken, and the later that this is, the farther behind she'll be. She has a 2 worker lead right now, but without that third base up, the income won't favor her just yet, as much as it could.
And Ransack is trying to establish the third on his own. Kind of a smart play, considering she built 2 spines at the front of her base, expecting a counterattack, saying, I lost a lot of units early. I just need a drone, try to find my way back into this game. And turns out the counter to 2 spines is you just don't attack. And that's just 2 drones and 200 minerals just down the drain. I don't want to say
Yeah,
a good play from Ransack, but I think it just kind of worked out in his favor.
yeah. I think I imagine that he's getting these cannons in order to be prepared for any sort of spire switch or anything like that. But I mean, really, if we look at the vision here, he doesn't really have a lot of scouting info to tell him that something like that is coming. He has full view of this natural. He has view of all the tech structures in the main base. So, maybe a little bit of an overinvestment at this stage of the game, but if that switch does come, then he'll be nice and ready for that.
I wouldn't mind Ransack
Meanwhile,
just throwing down like 4 gateways right now and just kind of going for a push. I mean, you can see this
mhm.
army. He's going immortal heavy, which I like because Fuzzles is going roaches, and immortals can just nom 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 all over spine crawlers. So I say just get a warp prism, throw a couple gates down, and just go for it.
Yeah, that would be a very strong timing here for Ransack, and it looks like he is adding on 2 more right now. But now Fuzzles still hasn't thrown down the third base. That is very critical here. So the third base is up faster for the Protoss. The upgrade is faster. And right now it looks like that he is gearing up to be in a very nice position for this later stage of the game. Fuzzle's moving out here with a little bit of a force, and I'm not sure that's the right call. This army of Ransack is structured very well to just counter what Fuzzles has here. He has force fields to deny the banelings. He has Guardian Shield as well. He has Immortals that just do so much damage to this composition. So, I really feel like Fuzzles should just be sitting back here and, try and just get ahead on bases. We'll
Yeah,
see how it
and
goes here. Here's the
oh,
fight.
force
Well,
field.
he's going to get engaged. Ooh, very nice force fields there by Ransack, completely negating this fight. Not today, he says, and looks like Fuzzles just has to back off here. Hydralisk then going down at home as well as an Evo chamber. So looking to get farther and farther into this game. And I mean, frankly, if this game keeps going on at this pace, I mean, Ransack's just going to continue to get ahead.
It's a very scary moment for Fuzzles. Oh, Mothership Core being obnoxious. It's a very scary moment for Fuzzles because Fuzzles' army is actually pretty expensive considering the position that she's in with 7 Hydras coming out. And so when you have an econ advantage as Protoss, that means if you kill the Zerg army, which usually trades more ineffectively than a Protoss army, you have a lot harder time building it back up than the Protoss, who's probably going to keep their Immortals alive. There's a better econs, who's probably just going to go more gateways and just warp in a bunch of units. So if she loses that army, she's going to find herself in a very tough position.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when take a look at this supply, and she's down about like almost 20 workers now. She's down in army supply also by about 20. Not a lot going well for the Zerg player here. So she's gonna have to get something done here in order to get herself back in this game, whether that's economic damage or a very favorable fight. Picking off that mothership core would be nice. Looks like she's a bit scared to do so.
It's kind
And
of odd.
also the supply block is going to suck for Fuzzles here. Not what you want at this stage in the game.
Ooh, 8 Overlords coming out. That's kind of a panic. We have to remember this is the finals, so
Mhm.
like pressure's running high. The Bailings are nice. I
Yeah.
wish she had Bailing Speed. Bailing Speed would be so nice. Get a good surround. It's called the Protoss Death Ball for a reason. They're all crunched up into a ball. So if Bailings can make contact and a lot of them can hit at once, It might not kill the Immortals with their barrier, but it can do some damage on the Stalkers.
And especially with only 3 sentries in this army here, maybe one wave of good force fields to keep that army safe for Ransack, and after that, there's just not enough energy. And now she's getting that centrifugal hooks, as well as finishing up her carapace upgrades and going into +2 missile attacks. So, frankly, I still very much favor Ransack's position in this game. Fuzzles is closing that supply gap, but still behind, actually ahead in workers now, but still behind 30 army supply. Now here's a fight here, and the Baneling's not in a good position to go crashing into this army. A bit of a counter timing here for Fuzzles. Nice force field zoning this army off, and Ransack gets the pursue here. Nice little concave. Baneling's getting pretty decent hits on those stalkers, and now here come the Lings, forcing this army back, but there's just so much damage going down here, and there's so many Immortals in the back of this fight. They're just going to shred through this force, just going to walk up and murder these Hydralisks. And with charge finishing up soon, there's going to be another wave of this, plus charge lots, which, as we all know, just shred through this Hydralisk force that Fuzzles is continuing to go into. Very nice place here for Ransack in this game.
You could say that was probably the best engagement Fuzzles was going to get. But the problem is what I spoke of earlier, is that her econ advantage wasn't really there. So we're still going to see Ransack get a bigger army much faster after that trade. And the problem is, the Immortals almost went untouched. I think the fight started with 7 Immortals and walked away with 6. That's pretty good. Those are expensive units. You can't warp them in. They take time to build. 39 seconds, considering about the 5 or 4 seconds that it takes to warp them in near a pylon with a gateway or near a nexus. So very good micro from Ransack. Good job keeping those alive. And now it's just Hydras. I mean, maybe get Lurkers at this point, but I even think a big enough Immortal Archon ball can just roll over Lurkers. I'm a little scared for Fuzzles.
Yeah, this is a very rough spot for Fuzzles here. I mean, she needs to be getting these Lurkers. She needs to find a position that she can hold. I think that moving those Spine Crawlers up would be a wise choice. It's going to be a rough fight for Fuzzles. I think that she needs something to tank here. Because if these charge lots if this army gets gotten on top of by this Protoss force, I mean, there's just nothing you can do. I really don't think that she should be moving out on the map here, because this army of Ransack is pretty mobile, all things considered, and will wreck this force.
I can't agree with you more, but what else do you do? Look at the main base, the natural. There's cannons everywhere. There can't be any run-bys, can't be any ling drops. It's just such a difficult position. And now we see Zergling Hydra, which is good against Immortals, I guess, but not good against Archons. Archons eat Zerglings up. I think they just one-shot them. Yeah, they just one-shot, plus the splash damage. A few more Banelings now, but even Banelings stretching into Archons can get ugly.
Yeah, nice pick on that Mothership core that was just kind of chilling out in the middle of the map.
Yeah, finally.
So while that's nice, not the biggest deal in the world for Ransack. Really the only chance Fuzzles has is to outmaneuver this army, but here, fight in the middle of the map, not where Fuzzles wants to be. Already losing one Lurker, almost losing both there. The Lurker getting some decent shots off, but now the Lurker is completely underneath his army. The Hydralisks are getting shredded by these Immortal Archon, and this is looking like Ransack is moving to take this game for UnRivaled.
Man, the early attack couldn't do it. I also, when you said move the spines up, there's also the opportunity that creep spec could have been a little bit better. I don't think there's creep tumor on the map right now. That could have helped, because when the Protoss army comes on, you can surround them. But it seems like Ransack's going to take the first game out of the CTL Season 13 Finals, going 1-up for the boys in blue.
Yeah, good game, well played. So that makes you